Hello and welcome to this video where I'll be taking a comprehensive, in-depth look at Dovetail Games' Flight Sim World, or FSW for short. So, Flight Sim World was released as an early access game/simulator on Thursday the 18th of May on Steam, and it's available for £19.99. For those of you outside the UK, it will be $24.99 and also €24.99. So the purpose of this video is to give you an unbiased, objective demonstration of Flight Sim World in its current state. Since FSW was announced, I've seen some skepticism among the Flight Sim community, and my aim is to demonstrate as much of Flight Sim World as I can without giving you my personal feelings or opinions. I feel that it's important for you, the viewer, to watch this video and form your own opinion about the game without my or anyone else's influence. Now, there's a few disclaimers and things that I'd like to talk about before I start. However, I appreciate that some people are anxious to see actual in-game footage, so feel free to skip ahead through the video. I've listed some of the elements or different features that I'll be taking a look at during the video and listed the times when those start. So as I said, please feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to listen to me talk for another couple of minutes. Now, transparency is something which is very important to me, therefore I would like to start by saying that I have received a free copy of Flight Sim World. I approached Dovetail Games last week and explained that I would like to make this video as a passionate flight simmer, and they were happy to support me by providing me with a free copy of the game. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Stephen, the executive producer of Flight Sim World, and also Amy, the brand manager/PR manager for Flight Sim World. Also, in case anyone out there is especially cynical, I want you to know that I have full independent control over the content in this video. By that I mean that Dovetail have not said you can only show this or don't talk about that. There's no gag order or anything. I've not been restricted in any way. Opposite to that, I'm not affiliated with Dovetail either. Other than receiving a free copy of the game, I am not receiving any other benefits from Dovetail. I don't have access to any extra secret information about the game or any insight into the development of the game. I don't get to see any behind the scenes stuff. I know as much as you do. So I mentioned earlier that Flight Sim World was released as an early access product, so let me take a moment to clarify what early access is. When you purchase an early access product, you are paying for a product which is still in development. It's an unfinished product. The benefit for you is that you get to be one of the first to see, experience and gain knowledge about that product. The benefit for the company making the product is that they gain funding which is reinvested into development and bringing it up to the quality and standards which were envisioned when they first designed the product. A mutual benefit is that you can give feedback and suggestions to the creators, which allows them to improve and enhance the final product for its full official release. So the reason I'm making this point is because I want people to remember that Flight Sim World is a product which is still in development. Now, in the context of software development, which computer games are computer software, that means that there may be some bugs or errors in the software which causes crashes or performance issues. That is something which happens with any piece of software. Any game developer experiences problems during the development of a game, and these problems are resolved as time goes by. Also, because this is still in development, what you see now is not representative of the final product. There will most likely be a lot of things that will change. For example, some features or elements may be added, some might be taken away, some might simply be changed or improved. That's something I'd like you to keep in mind during this video. Another thing I've seen with a lot of the community reaction is questions about performance. Therefore, I will attempt to measure the performance throughout this video. Now, I'm not a professional hardware tester or software tester, however I have devised a method which may give you some indication of how the simulator performs. What you can see on screen just now is the hardware specification of my PC, and what I will be doing throughout the video is flying in remote locations, flying in populated locations, and flying with different weather settings to see how these impact the performance, which I'll be measuring with an FPS counter. So the idea is that you can look at my PC hardware, look at the graphics settings, look at the Sim's performance via the FPS counter, and get a sense for the game and what kind of hardware you need to run it. Again, please remember that this is a game which is in development, and performance optimization is a common procedure which is done during development. Therefore, if the performance seems poor during the video, it will most likely be worked on and improved as the game is developed. Anyway, enough of me yapping, let's get into the game. Okay, and here we are at the main screen of FSW. So this is the first screen that you'll see after loading up the game. Now, there's a couple of things I want to mention about just installing the game very quickly. So the download from Steam was 15.1 gigabytes. And when I first started the game, it had to go through a few kind of initial setup steps. Similar to FSX, where it would generate scenery databases and things like that. So it just did that the very first time I started the game. I've started the game up a couple of times after, and it hasn't asked to do that at all. So you might just need to be aware of that if you are getting the game yourself. But yeah, this is the first screen that you'll see after loading up the game. So you can see that we have a few options here. We've got free flights, we've got missions, and we've got training there. So it seems to suggest a couple of missions depending on how many you've done or where you are with the game. But we'll take a look at those later on. So I'm just going to run through the different screens just now, and we'll take a look at what's behind each of the different screens, and then we'll jump into some aircraft after that. So the second kind of page on the home screen there is settings. So we can click into that, and we can see that we've got some general settings here. Next tab, we've got some display settings. Now, it doesn't allow you to go in and change like specific little details here and there. You can't it doesn't allow you to go into to change things. But you do have these kind of quality sliders here. You can select your filtering options here. So I'm just going to leave that where it is. Now, when I started the game, it defaulted to high. I did try running the game at ultra settings, but I found that the frame rates were consistently under 30 frames per second. So I've rolled all of the settings across the board back to high, and that should give us some smooth gameplay footage above 30 frames per second. The next panel, we have audio controls. So we've got a few different sliders for volume control there. Now we have controls on the next tab. So those of you who are coming from FSX, it will be very familiar to you. All of these sort of the kind of default assignments, such as having the flaps on the F5 to F8 key, are all there. So if you're coming from FSX, a lot of the key assignments will be similar, if not the same. So there's be some degree of familiarity there. Next up, we have realism. So we have the various options for detecting crashes, collisions, and bits and pieces like that. Here we do have the flight models page. Now it doesn't say if the left side is more realistic or less realistic. There's no indication as you move the button, but I'm guessing over on the right would be more realistic. So you've got those options there as well. And the next couple of tabs, you can set up your profile here, so you can enter your name and bits and pieces. I think that doesn't really do much other than affect your name on the home screen here, default number 1, and alternatively on multiplayer as well. And then last tab, you have a bunch of credits with all of the people who worked on Flight Sim World thus far. So next tab, up at the top there, you have your pilot profile. So the first screen it brings you to is this qualifications tab. So they might be hinting at an element of like a career mode or some sort of personal progression or personal kind of mission path to work through. But you have light aircraft pilot here, and then you've got private pilots, and I guess this will end up being a selection of training missions here and a check ride there as well. So we'll take a look at those later on. We do have the missions here as well, so there are missions similar to FSX, and it looks like you get a score. I'm assuming that's what these 0 out of these numbers are here. So it looks like there's 17 missions in the game at the moment. And then last you have a statistics page, so you have various achievements and your various statistics, so your flying time, night flying, takeoffs, landings, and general statistics really. The next tab up at the top here is actually blacked out, but it appears to be a shop tab. I believe I saw this in one of the announcement trailers or dev diary videos, that when the game is released you'll be able to purchase DLC through this page here. The next tab will be missions. So on this page, obviously you get a world map view here, and all of these kind of blue buttons here are the various missions which are available. So I'm assuming that over time, as people generate their own missions, as the dev team generate their missions, more of these kind of missions will pop up all across the world. And on the left here, it looks like you can select the missions by their various type. Hamburger. That's intriguing. I'm not sure what a hamburger mission is, but maybe we'll take a look at that one later on and find out. So next tab, we have training. So very similar to the missions, we've got various marker locations, I guess, which will take you through various training missions. And I'm guessing they're kind of based in different locations around the world. After that, you have a free flight screen. So you can create a new flight by selecting an aircraft, which we'll take a look at this later on. But you can go into select an aircraft, select your weather conditions, and select your departure airport. So there's also options here to save and load flights as well. And I do believe that you can use this map screen as a makeshift flight planner as well. So you can do something like that. So you can kind of create a flight plan that way. As I said, we'll take a look at that in more detail later on. Second to last tab at the top here is a multiplayer tab. So what we'll do later on again is jump into a server. Hopefully this one, which has not been locked down, is still open later on. It seems to be the most popular because it's not unlocked. So we'll try and jump in there and see what multiplayer performance is like. You can also create a server, and I guess you can also tie into your Steam friends list there as well. Button isn't working, but then again, I am currently showing as offline on Steam, so I don't get Steam messages popping up and notifications disturbing me. And then finally, we've got Dovetail Live. So Dovetail do have a kind of like a live service or system where they can kind of push updates to games. They can update you, let you know about the company, let you know about any up and coming products. But I'm not kind of registered with that just now. Anyway, that's enough of the boring, potentially boring UI. Let's start looking at some good stuff, some proper stuff, and let's take a look at the aircraft next. Okay, so here we are at the aircraft selection screen. So to get here, I just went into free flights and then the aircraft selection option, and here we are. So on the right hand side, you can see we have 7 aircraft. And if we just hover over those aircraft or mouse over those aircraft, you can see that we get a lot of performance information about each aircraft there on the left hand side. Pardon me, left hand side of the screen. So for the aircraft demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of follow a set kind of procedure. So I'm going to load up the aircraft, do an external view of the aircraft with the engines off, internal view with the engines off, and then an external view with the engines on, internal view with the engines on, do a takeoff, do a landing, and I'll do that for all 7 aircraft. So here we go. Okay, and here we have an external view of this, the Diamond Star. So if you can hear an engine running in the background, there is another aircraft somewhere. I can't see it, but there is another aircraft there. So also, if you have a look up in the top left corner, you can see that I've brought up the game's internal sort of frames per second counter there. For some reason I was having a bit of difficulty getting external frame rate counters working, so I'm going to be using the game's internal one there. So at the moment it's kind of bouncing between maybe 30 and 50 frames per second. So there's an external view of the Diamond Star. Let's have an internal view. Oops, spin that around there. So you can see we do have a glass cockpit set up here. Get a closer look at some of these central controls there. I wonder where that other aircraft is. So we're currently sat at Inverness. Where else would I be doing my videos? Don't appear to have any controls kind of in the forward upper cockpit there, and a couple of seats around the back. So I'm going to cheat and get the engine started with Control E. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a takeoff, perform a quick pattern, and do a landing. So during the flight as well, during the takeoff and landing, you'll also get to look at the scenery as well. So we'll bring it around to the left now. So now that I'm up here, I'm getting between, it seems to be hovering about 40 frames per second consistently. That's what I'm trying to say there. A little bit of turbulence here. So this weather preset, I'm going to look at the weather in more detail later on in the video, but this weather preset I believe is called Sunny Day. It's the most kind of perfect flying condition preset I could find. So for this first flight, because I've got a few other bits and pieces that I want to talk about, I'm probably going to record the entire pattern here. I think I can see an aircraft on the runway now. Better get a move on. Until we're about 45-degree angle, and then we'll turn back to do a pattern here. And if you can hear some clicking in the background as well, that'll just be me hitting the trim buttons on my joystick. So we'll throttle down, turn in here. Get the first stage of flaps out as well. Might be just about be able to see it on the recording there, but we've got a Piper Cherokee that's just taken off. Again, similar to FSX, it's got a red highlight just above the aircraft, so you can see that's just off the end of the runway now, hopefully. So go full flaps. Just as we turn and line up with the runway. So a little bit high, but it's not a massive deal. So I do believe that the AI aircraft in this game at the moment are just performing patterns because it's all GA aircraft. All of the AI aircraft are the same aircraft that you can fly in the game, and I believe that they're all just performing basic patterns at the moment. Idle throttle there. Put it down gently. So we'll start braking now as well. So I've noticed that the brakes are weaker by default compared to FSX. Again, that would arguably be more realistic, having the brakes weaker. The aircraft isn't like just jamming to a stop. You'll also notice in the top right corner you get every time you complete a landing at an airport, you get kind of like some time added to kind of like a virtual logbook, so to say, or per se. So that's what that is up there. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rattle through the next 6 aircraft now, just following the same kind of procedures. So external view with engines off, views with engines on, takeoff and landing. Okay, next up is the DA-42, or the Diamond Twin Star. So I do believe that this aircraft was originally designed after the DA-40, based on the success of that. the sort of the management at Diamond Aircraft wanted to create a twin-engine version of their DA-40 aircraft, and this DA-42 was the end result. So sports two piston engine propeller engines there. So that's the external view. Let's take a look inside. Oops. So we've got again 2 seats out front, 2 seats in the back. Joystick controls here, as you can see. We've got throttle levers in the middle. Again, glass cockpit design with backup instruments up top. Nice view of the 2 engines out in front of the pilot seats there. So let's get it started. Okay, and let's get it rolling. The parking brake on. I think I have. There we go. Whoops. And let's get moving. Oops. Not sure if that was an overcorrection on the rudder or gust of wind that blew me across there. Does this come with retractable landing gear? It does. I'll try and get a view of that, an external view of that later on. So we're just coming in to land the Twin Star here. I'll try and make the landing as much less dramatic than the takeoff roll was. Flared a bit too high there. That's alright, we're down. And we're on the brakes. And bringing it to a stop. So that concludes the 2 Diamond aircraft. So next up will be the Piper Cub, I believe. Yes, Piper Super Cub. Okay, next is this, the Piper PA-18 Super Cab, which is arguably a classic aircraft. I believe that this is used as a trainer for lots of tail dragger pilots. I might be wrong, but here it is in FSW. So we'll jump inside, take a look around. So again, classic aircraft. We've got no fancy glass cockpit stuff in this one. We do have a back seat. Well, it's not really much of a back seat, but it's there. Anyway, let's get the engine on. Control E. A little bit of shake and shudder. Okay. Let's get a move on. Oh, I forgot how early this aircraft likes to take off. It can fly at an incredibly slow speed. That caught me off guard there. That's why I had a little hop on the runway there. Anyway, yeah, something else I've noticed. If you go into locked spots, you seem to get a bit more of an interesting view here. The view seems to shudder and shake with turbulence and aircraft bumps. Okay, and here we are back in line with the runway. Now, I'm not used to flying tail draggers, so you're going to have to forgive my my landing technique on this one. But I do believe the idea is to pretty much stall the aircraft right above the runway and land on all three landing gear at the same time. Or just smash the front wheels into the ground. Again. And again. And again. I did warn you that I didn't know how to land these things. And very gently just tap the brake there so I don't flip over. Cool. And that was the Piper Super Cab. Okay, the second Piper aircraft that we can fly is this, the Piper Cherokee. Now this, if we take a closer look on the front here, is the Cherokee 180E variant. So I believe that the Piper Cherokee was originally designed in the early 1960s, and then they brought out this variant which had a 180 horsepower engine compared to the basic 160 horsepower engine in the original Piper Cherokee. Of course it's gone on to receive other variants such as the I think it's the Archer and the Warrior are also variants of this aircraft here. So it's the Cherokee 180E that we have in FSW. And yeah, let's take a look inside of it. So this is again, I always have to spin my camera around there. It's not a fault of the game, it's just a fault of the camera system there. But yeah, this is very reminiscent of this is bringing back memories of me flying my Warrior the other month. Very similar cockpit layout. Yeah, we've definitely got 6-pack instruments there. We've got the clock, ADF, and then the 2 VORs there. All of your fuel gauges and bits and pieces down here. All of your switches in the middle. Radio stuck there. So, yep. As a barely trained Piper Warrior pilot, I can say that this is pretty accurate. There, you've got flaps, you've got trim, and 2 seats in the back for any unfortunate passengers. And yeah, there we go. There's the door lock. There, pretty good. Let's see. Can we? Just didn't realize. Can we bring these down? We can roll these down. Little touches here and there. Anyway, Control E. Let's take this up for a spin. Well, not a spin, but you know what I mean. Okay, and here we are coming in for the landing. So when I did my trial flying lesson in the Piper Warrior, I actually bounced the landing, so I'm going to be determined not to do the same with this Cherokee here. Then again, I was approaching the runway way too high in real life. This seemed to be just about on course. So we'll go engines wide over there. There we go. Maybe we should just stick to being a flight sim pilot rather than a real life pilot. Anyway, we'll hit the brakes, bring it to a stop, and then we'll take a look at the next aircraft. And this next aircraft is the Piper Seneca 5. So as you can see, it's a twin piston engine propeller driven aircraft. This variant is the Seneca 5. So there have been various Piper Senecas built throughout the years. I believe the Seneca 5, if I can remember my research correctly, was designed around the 1990s, possibly. I might be wrong there, but I do believe that this is certainly one of the best performance aircraft in FSW currently, along with the Diamond Twin Star, the two twin engine aircraft, obviously being the fastest, the highest cruise speeds, the highest cruising altitudes, so on and so forth. Inside, you can see that we have a glass cockpit style again. Oops, camera. Thank you very much. So you can see it's a very kind of modern cockpit layout here. I believe this is the Garmin, it'll be either G500 or G600, where you've got these two sort of more narrow displays rather than having one grand, rather than the G1000, which is one large display along with one large kind of map there as well. You have the two kind of displays side by side there. Take a look around the inside here. I believe some of the controls are also up here on the front. So yeah, that's the inside of the aircraft. So let's get the engine started. Okay, and let's head on out with the Seneca 5. So pulling back, thing doesn't want to take off just yet. Do I have the no, I've got the condition levers down. Never mind. I'm not a massive expert with many of these aircraft, so I don't know the exact kind of performance for takeoff and landing and speeds and stuff. So yeah, again, just to check in with frame rates and stuff. I'm still hovering between maybe 30 and 40 frames. So you can see the frame rate up in the top left corner there. So yeah, doing well. Okay, so we're just bringing this one down for landing. Seneca 5. It's a little bit annoying having that window heater square structure right in my field of view, but we'll work with it. So we've got engines to idle. Flaring just a tad too high, I think, here. Blink it down. Oh, grease that one. Absolutely grease that one. I floated it and landed long, but it was an absolute greaser, so it was worth it. Anyway, we'll bring this aircraft down to a stop, and we'll take a look at the final Piper. And the last Piper aircraft in FSW is this, the Piper Malibu Mirage. So there are several kind of Piper Malibu variants. This Mirage is a piston engine propeller version. There are turboprop versions available as well. However, the Mirage is a 350 horsepower piston engine, I do believe. So this is again a very high performing single engine aircraft. I do believe that the cabin in this is pressurized, so it can go up and above and beyond 10,000 feet without the need for separate oxygen systems or anything like that. So yeah, let's jump inside, we'll have a look around, and then we'll take this one up for a little pattern here. So we've got, whoops, this kind of attitude and HSI set up here. Got airspeed and VORs out on the left there. We've got altitude, vertical speed on the right. Got engine cluster, a few GPS units available. Got a few more switches up top and front there as well. And you can see there we've got seating back there. Pardon me, losing my voice. Seating back there for 4 passengers. So I believe this is like a GA business aircraft, as well as a personal one. So occasionally you might use this for commuting businessmen around if they don't have enough money for a private jet. Anyway, Control E. And then we'll get to move on here. So this one seems quite a bit louder than the others, so I might have to speak up here to be heard. 80 knots, we'll try pulling back there. Seems to be responding, and up it goes. So this aircraft, like a couple of the others, has retractable landing gear, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we'll just bring this one in now. So a word of warning, didn't realise about this aircraft, but if you bring the throttle back to idle with the landing gear retracted, then you'll start to get a little kind of warning horn will sound off. So just something to be aware of if you decide to fly this aircraft. So we'll go idle there. Let's just let the plane down. And that's probably the best landing all day. Bang on the touchdown markers, bang on the centre line. Awesome. So let's take a look now at the final aircraft in FSW. Okay, so the final aircraft is this, which is the Vans RV-7A. So it's a relatively unknown aircraft. I believe this is actually a experimental type aircraft, or possibly even a kit aircraft that customers can purchase and build themselves. I believe it costs about $30,000 to buy one of these and build it yourself. So there are kind of two variants of this aircraft. The RV-7 is actually a tail dragger, and the RV-7A has the nose wheel that you can see there. So yeah, we'll take a look inside. There we go, pilot view, that's what we want. Oops, so let's just spin this around. So as you can see, it's a fairly basic cockpit. It's much more kind of, almost it has more of an industrial feel compared to the likes of the Pipers, which have different seats and kind of like a fully formed dashboard and bits and pieces. And center console here, you can see it's all kind of just like a little, basically a metal framework all just bolted into the instrument panel there. But there you go. Bunch of switches here. Not seeing any labels of any on any of these switches, so if I mouse over them I can get the little tooltip there, but I guess it's an aircraft owner thing, you just know which switch does what there. Anyway, Control E to start the engine. And we'll take this up. Not gonna lie, that's unlike any aircraft engine I've ever heard, but let's trust it and let's take this up. Got a red light there on the just above the attitude indicator. No idea what that is. Also, that little instrument just to the left of the airspeed there that's lighting up and disappearing. No idea what that is. Okay, so that's the flaps just come down there. So I've been flying this for all of about 2 minutes, and that little light bulby thing on the left of the airspeed, I think that's an angle of attack indicator. It seems to increase when I pull up, so I'm guessing it's got something to do with the angle of attack here. Put the flaps out a bit more. Stick this landing. So it goes idle. Nice gentle touchdown there. Okay, and that is our final aircraft done and dusted. So, there you go. That's all. That's a quick demonstration of all 7 aircraft. If you sat through all of that, thank you very much. It took a while to record it. So, next, let's move on to the next section of the video, which I can't remember what it's going to be. So here it is on the screen. Okay, so for this next section of the video all about scenery, I wanted to show off different sort of biomes within FSW to give you guys an idea of what the scenery looks like at a distance. So at the moment I'm flying over the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. We're up at about 10,000 feet just now, and again I'm just using the sort of the sunny day preset weather just so you guys get a good view of the ground below, or in this case the water below. So this is the first example. As I said, this is a view of the ocean from a distance. Next we'll be moving on to the desert. Okay, so here we have the desert, or a desert example of a desert biome. So I'm flying over the Sahara Desert just now in Africa. And something I forgot to mention in the last clip, I was getting consistently around 70 frames per second. Again, I'm up at about 10,000 feet. And yeah, again, here in the desert, looks like I'm getting around 70 frames per second again. So it seems to be the further away from the ground you are, the better frame rates you're getting. So there's an example of the barren desert. Let's go to another barren landscape and look at the Arctic. Okay, and here we are in the Arctic, or I guess the Arctic tundra, you could also think of it as. So again, I'm up at about 10,000 feet. We're just north of Canada, or in the very north of Canada at the moment. And you can see, yeah, there's a view of the ground below. Now the textures, obviously, as you can see just above the plane, aren't quite as sharp up here, so I'm not sure what the issue is there. But yeah, there you go. If you have a look in this direction, there you have an example of the Arctic there. Okay, next up we have mountainous terrain. So here I am flying over the Himalayas just now. Unfortunately I can't be about 10,000 feet above ground level because the ceiling for this aircraft is 25,000 feet, and Everest of course is over 30,000 feet, so can't go over the top of Everest. But it's out there somewhere. So yeah, these are all of the Himalayas. Okay, this next biome here is a sort of, I guess, a rainforest. So the stretch of water that you can see out in front of the plane is the Amazon River. And subsequently all the land around that will be the Amazon rainforest. So this is an example of sort of a heavily forested area. Okay, so next we have a sort of tropical biome or a tropical island environment here. So the runway that you can see just in front of the plane is the infamous Princess Juliana, where people usually get their heads taken off by planes landing there on the beach. Rather interestingly here, my frame rates are struggling a little bit more compared to elsewhere. They're down between 30 and 50 again, so looking down I can see there's a lot of sort of auto-gen buildings down there, so that might be part of the reason why it's struggling so much, but yeah, this is a look at a tropical setting. Okay, and speaking of airports, let's take a look at some of the airport scenery here. So we're down now on the ground at Princess Juliana. That kind of noise you can hear in the background is, I guess, the road out there. You can see we've got cars driving by, so I'm guessing that kind of noise that you can hear is meant to be the road, or meant to represent traffic on the road there. But yeah, this is us on the ground here at Princess Juliana. So we've got several ground vehicles. Got some static aircraft over there to the left as well. Keep having a look around. We've got the terminal building there. Let's go over and take a closer look at air traffic control over there. So here we are now, parked over next to air traffic control, so you can get a look at the buildings there. Get a look at some of the surrounding landscape as well. And let's take a closer look at the runway actually as well. So if I go back into slew mode here, so we've got taxiway signs there. Then we've got the runway itself here. So I'm trying to move as gently as I can here. So yeah, there's a close-up view of the runway. If we head off down to the far end pretty quickly. Still in slew mode, by the way. You can see we're down here now. Oops, let the camera catch up. So yeah, this is the end of the runway. You can see we're in the touchdown zone, given the tyre markings and the wear on the runway. We'll get a look at the runway numbers, which are barely visible on this this type of runway here. But yeah, it looks like that's runway 28. And the view down the runway. So that's Princess Juliana at night, or sorry, during the day. Let's take a look at that at night from this end of the runway, runway 28. Okay, and this is Princess Juliana at night. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have no idea whereabouts I am just now. I do believe that all of the landing lights should be on. If we have a jump back into the cockpit here and have a look up here. So we've got a lighting panel here. So landing lights, you can see the tooltip there says it's on. Taxi lights tooltip says it's on. Nav lights tooltip says it's on. So if I flick all of those off and we have a look outside, the lights aren't really giving that much illumination at the moment. So yeah, so this is Princess Juliana at night. Let me just jump back in, just double check all these lights here. And yeah, still not much illumination at all there. So there's an example of night flying in FSW. Let's have a look at another much bigger airport. Let's go over to Heathrow now. Okay, and here we are at Heathrow. So this is just a top-down view at the moment. You can see it's fairly pale coloured. You can't really see too much definition in the different buildings and such there. So let's get a bit closer with a spot view, and we'll try and take a look around the airport there. So we've got radar dish there, got the control tower. So as you can see, I've parked pretty much bang in the centre of the airport for the time being. Let's see if we can find ourselves somewhere more appropriate to park. Okay, so I've parked myself over here. I'm not sure which terminal this is, I'm afraid, but parked myself just west of the sort of the central mass of buildings there. You can see here we got some kind of generic terminal buildings. It looks like got some ground equipment there, a few jetways, bits and pieces. So yeah, that's what Heathrow looks like. There's a control tower there. Still got that that kind of rushing noise there. Based on, it is directional sound, and it seems to be coming from the sort of the. Seems to be directly ahead of the aircraft there. You can see off in the distance actually as well that we do have ground vehicles driving about as well. Got one out there, one just there behind the tower now. So yeah, that's Heathrow. Pardon me. So let's go and have a look at, or actually let's take a look at Heathrow at night as well, see if it's any different here. Okay, so here we are at Heathrow at night. Again, I'm not sure exactly which runway I'm at yet, I'm afraid. I'll explain why later on in the video when we take a closer look at the flight planner. But you can see that certainly the runway lighting is a lot more comprehensive than it was back at Princess Juliana. Again, we've got no real sort of lighting on the aircraft there. You can't really see it at all. You can see the sort of inside the flight deck there, or the cockpit. But as for exterior lighting and illumination, there doesn't really seem to be anything implemented at the moment. So yeah, there we go. That's Heathrow at night. Let's take a look at a grass strip type airport next, or like a more kind of rural airport. Okay, and last look at an airport here. So this is actually Cambridge in England, and you can see that we're sat on runway 28, which is a grass strip style runway there. So zoom in, you can see we've got a little bit of kind of texturing. You've got sort of vertical lines running up and down the runway there. So yeah, there's an example of a sort of a natural or a grass strip type runway. Of course, I'm not going to really bother looking at a nighttime view of a grass strip. Obviously, there's not going to be any lights. But there you go. So there's a look at that there. So one other thing that I want to do very quickly, which also falls under scenery, is I'm going to dive. Well, I'm going to say dive into London. I'm going to take a plane, take it towards the centre of London, so you can get an idea of the autogen scenery in a built-up area. Okay, and here we are over London. So I've just taken off from London City Airport, and yeah, this is pretty much central London. Right ahead of me, I've got the River Thames underneath me. You can see we've got the Millennium Dome, aka the O2 Arena. We're flying over just now. We've got Canary Wharf just ahead of us to the right as well. And yeah, this is what London looks like in FSW. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what a built-up area looks like. With autogen scenery and stuff. So for anyone who's wondering, my frames seem to be hovering between 20 and 30. So this is with my graphics settings, with everything set too high. The autogen or being in a densely populated area is having an effect on the computer there. So not drastic. I mean, it's not completely unusable. But is definitely having an effect on my computer there. As for London here, it seems to be keeping the it seems to be following the trend of FSX, where certain iconic buildings are being modelled. For example, I can see we've got the Gherkin there just above the right wing, just behind the aircraft there. We've got the Tower Bridge rather. No Shard, which is interesting. But we do have Battersea Power Station over there as well. And I'm sure if we continued further along the river, we'd see the likes of the Houses of Parliament and the London Eye and other landmarks like that. Okay, so next we're going to take a look at the different weather settings which are currently available. So at the moment you can only select from one of 14 weather presets. There's unfortunately no option to set the time or dates or set any sort of custom weather. So what I'm going to do is just look through these 14 options that we have on the right here, and similar to the aircraft, if you mouse over them you get a lot more detailed information on the left hand side. So you can see that it's going to be raining, it's going to be flying during the daytime, and it's going to be flying during the summer season. So I'm going to run through these one by one, and yeah, let's have a look at what these look like during a flight. Okay, so here I am flying with the Building Storms weather preset. So you can see it's fairly bright, kind of bright and airy. You've got probably, I guess this would be scattered cloud coverage, I guess you'd classify this as. You can see that we have multiple layers of clouds here. So we've got this kind of thin wispy layer down near the ground. We've got some, what I guess these are cumulus clouds. I'm not completely 100% sure of my my different cloud types there, but we've got some cumulus clouds up about 4,000 feet I would estimate, and then we've got some high altitudes, more thin wispy clouds there as well. So yeah, this is the Building Storms here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and fly through these clouds just now, just to see what the cloud effects are like. I don't know if you fly through a cloud if you're going to get some raindrops on the windscreen. Hopefully we'll find out in a minute. Once I've done this, then I'm going to drop down to near ground level again and see if we can pick up a bit of rain down there. So that's us pretty much in the clouds. So it's punching through it there. So that's nice. Nice sort of gentle clouds there. Didn't get any rain or any sort of indication of humidity there. Let me just drop down again. We'll see if what I'll do is I'll cut the video until we are passing into this kind of cloud layer down here. Okay, so we're just dropping down into this kind of thin, misty, hazy weather down here. Just about to pass into it just now. Any second now, hopefully. So that's us passing through it, and okay, so there's no indication it's above us. Wonder if we pull up quite sharply if we'll pass through it again. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm not sure if that's realistic. I'm not a real pilot. I've never really encountered misty, hazy conditions, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, that's Building Storms. So let's take a look at the next preset. Okay, and this is Cold Night. So I believe the idea behind this weather theme is it's kind of winter. It's a clear winter's night. So the air outside is really cold. There is a risk of icing. It did mention advancing cold fronts as well. So I'm not sure if because the previous weather was Building Storms. So I'm not sure if you need to be flying for maybe 10-15 minutes to let the weather develop before you start seeing some of the effects, if it's not immediately apparent. But yeah, this is Cold Night. So you can see we've got a nice orange glow to the sky. We've got the moon over there. Got some clouds over there as well. And yeah, that's Inverness down below at night time. So you can see that's what a city looks like at night. Okay, here we go. So this is Cold Front, and as you can see, we've got rain immediately. So I figured what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the runway and do a takeoff, so you can sort of see the rain moving on the windscreen and start to see how it streaks and look at the rain effects there. So yeah, let's go for a takeoff. So, oops, there's a very quick acceleration there. Oh, I've got a bit of a crosswind coming in as well. So you can see the rain streaking around the canopy there. Yeah, so this is a cold front, so the idea is that it's autumn time and you've got cold weather fronts approaching, which is generating, you know, clouds, generating rain and some turbulent weather conditions. What I'm going to do also is I'm going to take a look outside of the plane as well, in these conditions. So there you go, there's our first look at rain in the sim. So let's take a look at the next weather condition. Okay, and this is fair weather. So this is described in the game as being obviously almost idyllic flying weather. So warm temperatures. You can see we've got some fairly dense cloud coverage. I wasn't expecting this much, but yeah, there we have, you know, lots of clouds. It's not raining, it's still nice and bright, it's sunny, and yeah, nice warm temperatures, low winds, should make for pretty nice flying conditions. So yeah, you just get up and enjoy the sights. It's actually quite similar to what it was like for me during my my real worlds. My most recent trial flying lesson was very similar to this. So yeah, that's fair weather, not really too much to see there. So we'll just roll on right onto the next one. Okay, and this one is fogged in. So again, I'm doing this one starting on the ground, just so you can get an idea and get an idea of sort of the difference in visibility here. So fogged in, as you can guess, is obviously a lower visibility weather preset. So yeah, this looks like it would make for good IFR training and IFR practice. So if we have a look at the side there, you can see that you can barely see across the Murray Firth. I can just about see that. Hopefully it's coming through on the recording, but I can just about see the Black Isle over there, just to the north of Inverness. But you can see that visibility is really not that great. You're only looking at maybe 1 mile, possibly 1 mile visibility, if not, maybe not even that. So yeah, visibility is a lot worse. So I'm just going to climb up and see how far it is, or how high we need to go until we lose reasonable sight of the ground. So we're up at 1,500 just now. So I'm going to try and do a climbing turn here just to stay over the airfield. Okay, so we've got clouds up here as well, which is not going to help. So there's the runway down there to the right. Let's jump into a cloud and see how it affects visibility. If we roll over to the right there, you can see we've got the runway lights down there, still visible, but not by much. Gosh, that's quite bright. So up here, looks like it's winter time. It looks like it's all white and snow as we're peering through the cloud here. So yeah, that's the terminal buildings down there at Inverness, or terminal and hangars and stuff. yeah, so up above the initial bit of fog, it looks like it's winter time down there. So let me just do something very quickly. Let's go tactical for a minute, shall we? Drop out of this. Send like a World War II plane coming down. And as we drop down out of the clouds, there you can see that we get some colour back in the landscape there. So that was fogged in, and next up we've got Forever Autumn. Okay, and this is Forever Autumn, so you can see that it's not quite as bright as Fair Weather, for example. As you can maybe guess by the name, the sort of season is set to autumn here. So you can see that yeah, the sort of the general brightness of the world is a little bit less. You can see that we've got some, you know, fairly dense cloud coverage here. The clouds are low over the mountains to the south of Inverness Airport there. We're only up at nearly 2,000 feet just now. So yeah, this is Forever Autumn. So it's good flying conditions. I mean, there's not too much wind. Its visibility is rather good out of the clouds. But yeah, you can see that the clouds are hanging low or lower in the sky, and yeah, we don't have as much brightness around. So yeah, that is Forever Autumn. So next we're going to take a look at the Scotland setting. So yeah, the Scotland setting. This looks pretty yeah, this is pretty accurate from my experiences living up here in the Highlands. So yeah, you can see we've got full overcast skies, lots of rain out and about there as well. So yeah, that's this is a Scotland setting. So in the game it's listed as grey and rainy, but yeah, this absolutely is the Highlands in during probably autumn time. I'd say is around the time when this type of weather starts creeping in frequently, every single day for about 6 months, non-stop. So yeah, that's grey and rainy for you. Okay, and one other clip to go with this. I do apologise, I just remembered that I haven't been showing my FPS counter for the past few clips and weather settings there. So here with the rain effects going on the windscreen as well, I'm getting it's kind of bouncing between 20 and 30. It seems to be dropping into yeah, it seems to be consistently between maybe 23 and 27. With the kind of like the rain particle effects as well. I do remember seeing in the options that you can turn this effect off. You can turn like the rain particle or the rain kind of streaking across the canopy. You can turn that effect off if you wish. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of the sort of the performance there. Now that we're heading into some clouds, I'm seeing it dip into the high teens as well. The graphics settings on my computer are high across the board on the graphics sliders there. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it consistently in the 20s there. Very occasionally it drops down into the high teens as well. But it's consistently in the sort of the mid 20 range there, mid 20 frames per second there. And here we have Scotland Part 2. So this is the heavy snow preset, and surprise surprise, it introduces snow into the simulator. Who would have thought? Anyway, you can see that the cloud coverage is absolutely overcast, and we've got this yeah, we've got the snow streaking past the plane here. So we're not seeing any effects on the canopy. We're not getting any like snowflakes or anything hitting the canopy. I'm not sure if that's, again, I'm not a real pilot, so I don't know if snowflakes do hit the canopy in real life, or if the propeller somehow pushes them out of the way, away from the fuselage of the aircraft. But there we have, here we have snow in and snow-covered land in FSW. So frame rates with this are again mid-20s. Again, I'm seeing it dip into the high teens occasionally, but at the moment it's kind of steady between maybe 20 and 30. So yeah, there's Scotland in the winter time, very much like Scotland in the autumn time. Okay, and this weather preset, again, very appropriate for Scotland. It's not actually appropriate for Scotland. This one is major thunderstorms. So you can see, obviously, we've got very poor visibility. We've got flashes of lightning, very dark, very overcast, very imposing skies. Rain, of course, lightning out in front again. Did that strike the same place twice? I think it did. Yeah, so there we go. We've got major thunderstorm here. So as you can tell, we've got a lot of turbulence as well. We've got lots of thunder and lightning out and about, and yeah, lots of rain and poor visibility. What more could you ask from a thunderstorm? Okay, so this one is the springtime weather preset, and it's quite cloudy. It's quite cloudy. It's more cloudy than I would have expected, judging by the little kind of picture, like the preview picture that they had. But this is the springtime one here. So you can see that the kind of the general, I guess you kind of like the tone of the color is a bit lighter. It's a bit brighter. Not like the summertime. You know, it's not kind of bright and overwhelming, but yeah, this is springtime here, and I was seeing my frame rates struggling there. That is in the low 20s just now as we're passing through these clouds here. Let me try and get back under these clouds for a moment. Back down there, getting pretty close to maximum speed there. So slow ourselves back down again. We'll do a nice aerobatic turn over Loch Ness here. And yeah, this is springtime. So you can see we have like little kind of the sun maybe peeking through the clouds at different places there. Yeah, so that's the springtime preset. Okay, and again we have probably Scotland setting number 3 here. This is the stormy weather preset. So as you can see, we've got grey, overcast skies. The kind of general lighting is fairly dull, and yeah, again we've got nice rain effects coming through the plane here, or coming over the plane rather. So yeah, so that's the stormy weather preset. Okay, so what we have here is summer sunset. So it's pretty overcast. However, we do have this nice orange glow across all of the sky and all of the clouds up here. And the reason I'm doing a sharp turn just now is because I want to get a look at the airport. So you can see some of the sort of the lighting effects there while it's dusky and not completely black and completely nighttime there. So you can see we've got the blue taxiway lights there. If we do a turn around here, we'll get a look at the runway. So you can see we've got some runway edge lights here. On the smaller runway Inverness there, you can see we've got the threshold lights, I think those are, or runway end lights. So yeah, that's a sort of a dusk time look at the world with the sun setting. Okay, so this one we have here is the one I was using before during all of my scenery demonstrations, and that's a sunny day. However, there seems to be a lot of clouds, so I'm not sure why we have so much cloud coverage. As you saw earlier on, I was using the sunny day weather presets when I was doing all of my scenery demonstrations in like the last kind of chapter, I guess you'd call it, of this video. And it was perfectly clear skies, and it was bright, which is what you would expect from a weather preset called a sunny day. So I'm not sure why I've got so many clouds here. They must just know that Inverness is just constantly covered in clouds. But yeah, it's pretty strange. I was expecting clear skies. We've got some pretty low cloud coverage here, so I'm wondering if, because I've noticed the past few weather presets have had very low cloud coverage, so I'm wondering if there's possibly a bug where the cloud isn't loading in properly, or is not maybe unloading properly in between flights. Because for each of these video clips, I am stopping the flights and starting a brand new flight with brand new weather settings, so I'm not sure if there's a potential issue here. But yeah, this is a sunny day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to completely quit the game, come back in, choose a sunny day, first flight from a brand new start of the game, and see if it looks any different. Hey, there we go. Yes, it does look different. That's what I expected sunny day to look like. So, I apologise. I'm guessing that some of the other weather presets might not have been accurate. But do I go back now and restart the game entirely, or do I just continue? I'm going to continue as it is, and report that as a possible bug to Dovetail, because I kid you not, it is 2 AM since I'm recording this at 2 AM right now, and I've got a lot of videos still to prepare, so I'm going to continue as it is. So the weather presets, just so you know, disclaimer, might not have been accurate. Anyway, one more to look at. Okay, and this final one is Winter Wonderland. So as you can see, it's snowing again. It's winter time. We've got a few clouds in the sky, but it's not as dramatic as it was earlier when we had heavy snowstorms, bits and pieces there. So yeah, this is Winter Wonderland. It's fairly bright. It's bright, but it's snowy. So we've got looks like it'll be intermittent snow showers around the place. So yeah, pretty nice. It's not as daunting as a complete whiteout flying situation there, but yeah, it's a good VFR winter experience, I guess. So there you go. So that was the I think it's 14 weather presets there. So yeah, if I have enough time, I will go back and maybe re-look at some of them, see if I know in the middle there it was especially around the springtime weather preset. I was wondering if, you know, I was questioning then that the cloud coverage was a bit excessive. So if I have time before making this video and uploading it, I will go back and revisit them. If not, just be aware that there might be some issues with loading or unloading weather in between flights. Okay, so let's touch upon the air traffic control and AI system currently in FSW. So again, taking on continuing on from FSX, again the ATC system will seem very familiar to you. You would use the same key to bring up the air traffic control system. So on the UK keyboard, it's the apostrophe key. Alternatively, if that doesn't work, it usually does. It brings up a pop-up in the top corner here. Well, I remember things in the top corner. I'll just put my frame rates up there. So I've already brought it up there. So if I do that, yeah. So if I can cancel that and minimize, so you basically got the air traffic control window up here in the top right corner. So you can get rid of it there, and then press the apostrophe to bring it back. There. So, as you can see, I've already been chatting a little bit to air traffic control. Now, when I first tested this earlier, I was flying in the Canary Isles, and the air traffic control system worked, but there was no text-to-speech. I've literally just tried it just now at Inverness Airport, and we do have text-to-speech. So when you are communicating, you do audibly hear it. Not only that, but I was very surprised to hear that it's Scottish text-to-speech voices that come through here. So let me demonstrate it basically. So if we go for taxi for takeoff, and let's just say we want to remain in pattern.
Correct. Piper, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, Golf, India, ready to taxi, touch and go.
Piper, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, Golf, India, taxi to and hold short of runway 5 using taxiway. Contact tower on 118.4 when ready.
Taxiing, hold short, runway 5 via taxiway, Piper, Romeo, Golf, India.
So you can hear there it is text-to-speech, and yeah, those were, I can confirm as a Scotsman, born and raised in Scotland, that those were Scottish accents. So what we'll do is we'll turn around and we'll head out to the airport. Now, I'm not sure if we've got any AI aircraft around at the moment. They seem to just be popping in at random. And I have seen some flying around Inverness. You've seen some in earlier clips in this video flying around, but there doesn't appear to be any at the moment. So I'll have to go and try and find some at some point here. But yeah, as you heard and as you saw, the ATC system was very similar to FSX. Obviously it's been updated and it has a nice, looks different now. And yeah, we do have the progressive taxi options. So you can turn that on if you're at an unfamiliar airport, you don't know where to taxi. And you can also turn it off if you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing, or you don't like being told where to go and what to do. You can just turn it off and follow or make your own path in life, shall we say. So we'll just round this corner here, and we should get takeoff clearance.
Tower, Piper, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, Golf, India, ready for touch and go at runway 5.
Piper, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, Golf, India, cleared for takeoff, runway 5, touch and go, left, traffic approved.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 5, Piper, Romeo, Golf, India.
Okay, so that tower voice sounded a bit more American than Scottish to me, but we'll run with it there. So I'm just going to fly the pattern and then just cut the video when I start getting some more instructions from ATC.
Piper, Romeo, Golf, India, cleared, touch and go, left, traffic, runway 5.
runway 5, Piper, Romeo, Golf, India.
So there you go. So that's air traffic control there. So what I'm going to do now is go and try and find some AI aircraft, and yeah, basically they interact with air traffic control all the same. So I'm going to try and find them and see if they react to what I'm doing, and see if I can influence how the AI controls in this game. Okay, so I've been having a look around. I've visited a couple of different airports and I couldn't find any air traffic nearby. However, I have seen, I can confirm that I have seen the AI traffic doing patterns at an airport. So AI traffic is in the game. Most of the AI aircraft that you'll see, if not all of the AI aircraft that you'll see, are all going to be flying the same planes which are available to fly in the game. So it's all going to be the likes of cabs, Cherokees, and small GA aircraft like that. You're not going to see any commercial AI aircraft or anything just yet in the game. Okay, so next up we're going to take a look at multiplayer. So I've just jumped on just now and we've got several servers online. We've got 10 players in this one, so let's jump in and have a look and see if we can if we can get an idea of what multiplayer gaming with FSW is like. I have no idea. I've not played any multiplayer before. I am literally seeing this for the first time. I don't know what to expect, but it should be pretty interesting. Let's see. So everyone's flying PA-34, so let me just check which aircraft is that. That's all Seneca 5s. Should I fly a Diamond? Oh, I want to throw everyone off by flying something different. Maybe I'll go with the Cherokee because that's the most familiar aircraft to me. So it looks like everyone's flying around Vancouver International, CYVR. So let's jump in and see if we can get a look at other aircraft. I really have no idea what to expect here. So yeah, I just hope that everything runs smoothly, and I hope that we don't have anyone being naughty or rude in any way, because I really don't want to have to censor this video as I'm editing it. Aircraft could not be placed as requested starting in the air near the host. Okay. So we've got this sort of splash screen here. Okay. And the aircraft is losing control. So let's have a look here. So I don't know where Vancouver is in relation to me just now. But yeah, let's have a look around. Try and have a scan here, see if I can find. Okay, well I'm guessing that's the airport down underneath me. Not seeing any other aircraft just yet. I've got one on the ground, we've got two on the ground. Yes, we've got a few down there. I suppose my landing gear out or anything crazy. But yes, I can see 5 aircraft here. We've got 4 Senecas there. We've got Diamond Twin Star doing a flyby there by the looks of it. Okay, we'll just try and get trimmed out here, and we'll see what we can do. See if we can maybe go in for a landing on that runway. Now I don't know if this is going to work. I did remap a couple of couple of buttons here, so let's see if this works. Hello people, can anyone hear me? no idea if anyone could hear me. I couldn't see any confirmation that my microphone was live on the screen just then. So what that should have done is turn my microphone on. That was like a speak to wall thing going there. And I didn't hear nothing, so let's see here. So I don't know what multiplayer etiquette is, but let's see. We've had Koppel has been sitting on the end of the runway for ages. My landing gear was out. Okay. I'm coming in for landing. I don't care what anyone else is doing. Are we touching that? There we are. Now, I will vacate as soon as possible, and I just missed the runway I wanted to or the taxiway I wanted to vacate at. But we'll take the next right here. There doesn't seem to be any sort of control or sense of Oh. We did have a voice chat. I have no idea who that was. I didn't see any messages pop up on screen saying who that was. But that definitely sounded like a player. Okay, well let's get back down that runway, because looks like there's a bit of activity down there. So I guess I'll be polite. I'll sit and wait just down here just now. If the brakes would stop me in time. So he's rolling. Guess he's going for takeoff down there. Josma. I better let's go over here. Is he coming in for a landing? So Josma finally taking off? Yes, okay. Yeah, I've got plenty of time for takeoff there. So I'm guessing it's no holds barred out here. No one went behind me. Oh well, let's go for takeoff. Looks like people are entering a left-hand pattern, so let's join them. There isn't any like obvious structure or authority in here at the moment. It just seems like everyone's just flying around going, oh look, there's another player. Okay, well he's way too far away. I'm going to take a landing here. I should make this one a touch and go. Okay, and we're down. So, bring the flaps all the way up. Start accelerating. And we're up. Goes still out there on the left. Okay, well, I mean, I'm gonna leave multiplayer there. I mean, I'm not sure. No, there's not really any. There's no kind of, I guess, structure to flying in multiplayer that I can see just now. So, yeah, I mean, I had one guy seem to answer. I think he heard me. Not 100% sure, but yeah, that's multiplayer. I mean, there's definitely people playing the game, and yeah. All in the same vicinity, I guess. So yeah, there's multiplayer for you. Okay, so next up we're going to take a look at the flight planning screen, or the free flight screen also. So all I've done is I've just clicked on the free flight tab up at the top here, and it will bring you to this sort of screen where you have a map in the background, and then you've got three options on the left hand side. So what I'll do is I'll just run through how I've been setting up flights for this video. So first thing you do is you can select your aircraft, so that brings you into the aircraft selection screen, and you just choose whichever aircraft you like. Then you can select the weather conditions. Let's just choose fair weather, just as a random example there. And then you can select your departure airport. So this is where you can kind of draw up a flight plan and kind of, yeah, prepare a flight really. So let's say I want to start at Inverness, and let's say we want to fly north. So we'll start at Inverness, and then we'll go to Kinloss, go to Lossiemouth, go up to Wick, and then up to Kirkwall there. So you can see that you can just kind of like click between each point there. Now you can click out in the middle of nowhere. However, I don't think that these kind of non-distinct points have any bearing on the time or anything. You notice that I don't have GPS coordinates popping up on the left here, whereas I have all the airports. You'll notice that we also don't see any VORs or NDB stations listed at the moment. You can see that they do have them on the key down here, and I can't see any filter buttons on the screen to show them or hide them. So yeah, so there's an example of the flight planning screen. Let's see if I get rid of that. So you can see also that we do have a summary of the flight here. So at the moment it's Inverness to Kirkwall. Distance will be 101 nautical miles. The speed will be taken from the aircraft that we selected, and then we've got the estimated flight time of 45 minutes. So let's see, if I go to Kirkwall, or go from Kirkwall, do I click and drag, or I want to continue from Kirkwall? I'm clicking on Kirkwall, I'm going to try and click on dice. Let's see if I... Okay, yeah, there we go. That's all I wanted. So you can see that we have the distance now, 209 nautical miles, 1 hour 32 minutes. So if I get rid of that and then... Is that going to work? No, okay. So what I'm trying to do is... there we go. So obviously that flight would take a lot longer, distance 249 nautical miles. So yeah, so I mean it does update with the distance there. does recognise it is a longer route. Again, we don't have these kind of waypoints listed on the left. But yeah, there's an example of the flight planning tool. Actually, what I'm going to do is just confirm that, and then we'll start the flight there. Okay, and now that we are inside the plane, you can see, if we have a look down on our nav display here, that we do have the pink line, which indicates that the flight path has been drawn. So I can see, if we declutter a little bit there, so I can see that the flight path is taking us through Kinloss, through Lossiemouth up to Wick. And if I zoom out a bit further, yeah, there we go. So it takes us up to Kirkwall and then out and around. So it does draw the flight plan in there. So yeah, so that does kind of inject that into the nav displays there. Now, when I was testing this earlier, I couldn't find a GPS /master / nav switch, so I wasn't sure how to switch between using GPS or using a pre-planned route and just using navigation radios. That might be something that's not been implemented yet. Also, I was trying to do some. I was playing around with this G1000 unit, just going in and like having a look at trying to set up an approach at an airport. And as you might be able to see, and if I zoom in a little bit here, then if we go to going direct to and then start rolling the wheel through, you can see that there is a little bit of text conflict there. So it looks like these glass cockpits do need a bit of work, and also I did have a trouble where the simulator did freeze up trying to look at that. So maybe a word of warning: it doesn't look like the G1000s are fully happy being manipulated and altered at the moment. Okay, and let's take a look at the final section, which is going to be the missions and the training sort of lessons, I guess you would call them, here in the game. So I'm going to go to the pilot profile tab here and look at some of these missions through this here. So we've got light aircraft, so this license allows you to fly a variety of single-engine aircraft daytime in clear conditions. All from flying clubs. So it looks like we've got several missions here, or several lessons, which is ultimately going to take us to a skills test. So if we go to Academy, so that's bringing us to an introductory flight and a takeoff. Okay, well, I've not seen this before, so yeah, let's run through the introductory flight and see what it looks like.
You've decided to take a test flight. That's great. I'll get us up in the air and then you can try some flying.
Okay.
Reached a safe altitude, so let's try some simple maneuvers. You don't need to worry about any of the instruments. We're just going to learn some basic flight controls. When I give you control of the aircraft, I'll say you have control, and when I take back control of the aircraft, I'll say I have control. Now we're going to try gently rolling the aircraft. This will allow us to turn the aircraft left or right. The faster the turn, the more roll you'll need. For now, we only want to do a small turn, so a bank angle of around 15 degrees is perfectly fine. Okay, give it a go and turn to your left. You have control.
Okay, so we'll head over. We'll try and guess where 15 degrees is. We don't have an attitude indicator in this aircraft.
Okay,
so
level out so that you are flying straight and level.
Okay.
Okay, let's now try turning to the right.
So I guess we'll do the same thing. So I'm getting instructions across the top of the screen as well there. It says make a right turn.
level out. No, don't touch the pedals yet. We'll come to that later.
I couldn't help it. I've got a joystick.
Fantastic. You're really getting the hang of this. I have control.
Okay, you have control.
Now, we want to try changing the pitch of the aircraft. When you want to climb, raise the nose towards the sky by gently pulling the stick back. When you want to descend, lower the nose by pushing the stick gently forward. Gentle, gradual inputs will enable you to see what is happening to the aircraft. You can then modify the amount of pressure you use on the controls to achieve your desired result. Let's start by pushing the stick forward. This will lower the nose and cause the aircraft to descend. A secondary effect of this will be an increase in speed.
Okay.
You have control.
I have control. So, push the nose forward.
That's enough.
Okay.
Okay, level out.
Did we even lose some altitude there? Not sure if we did or not. Yeah, I thought
I
it was
have
like that.
control.
Okay.
Now, we want to try changing the pitch of the aircraft. When you want to climb, raise the nose towards the sky by gently pulling the stick back. When you want to descend, lower the nose by pushing the stick gently forward. You have control, so gently pull the stick back to increase pitch.
Okay, so obviously this is very elementary for us experienced flight simmers, but for someone who's completely brand new to
That's
flying and
enough
doesn't
pitch.
have any experience,
Okay,
this would be an introductory flight really. This is teaching them the absolute
now try
basics
the rudder.
of
You can move
flying.
This left or right. Don't hold the rudders too long or too far, or you might risk getting in a spin.
Okay, move this left or
That's
right.
it. This moves the nose side to side, or yaws the aircraft. The rudder is used in concert with other controls to keep the aircraft flying straight ahead. It's also used to turn the airplane while taxiing on the ground. The final control is the throttle. Try moving the throttle lever all the way back to idle.
Okay, so one thing I just remembered was to try and bring up my frame rates, because I noticed it slowed down for a brief second there. I'm pressing Shift plus Z to bring up the internal frame rate counter and it's not working there, so I can't show you my frame rates
See
at the
how the
moment, I'm
nose
afraid.
wants to drop as we slow down. Now, move the throttle lever all the way forward. That's enough pitch. Don't go beyond this angle.
I'm not
See how
touching the pitch.
nose now wants to rise. Okay, move the throttle lever back to about the halfway position.
All I'm doing is touching throttle controls just now. I'm going to have to do some sort of input to bring this back here. Okay, is that good? The throttle's in the halfway position.
Great. Now
Yeah.
you've tried all of the flight controls. That's really all there is.
Pitch, roll and yaw, very simple. So there you go, so that was the introductory lesson in FSW. Once this little cutscene finishes, we'll take a look at one of the
Well, that's
actual
the test flight
missions.
over. You've learned a few of the basics, and hopefully it's given you an appreciation of how a plane handles. There's a lot more to learn, so hopefully you'll want to take this further and perhaps take some lessons. I'm sure one of the flight school instructors will be happy to take you flying.
Okay, so finish your introductory flight. We got a little achievement there as well. So yeah, let's move on now to one of the missions. Okay, so just come back to the main screen just after that there, and yeah, you can hear I've got that kind of wind rushing noise still in the background and not the comparatively gentle menu music, so not sure what's going on there. But let's take a look at the missions here. So the one I saw earlier was this hamburger mission. I've no idea what a hamburger mission is. I mean, Adventure Tours seems like it's a fly from here to there type of thing. Los Angeles approach seems like a landing. Tests, icing conditions, so there's like simulation, taxi hub. So a hamburger, I've no idea what a hamburger mission is. But let's have a look here. So flying for fun today. Take off from Delta Heritage and plan to make a landing in Vancouver, but be careful you're entering a busy airspace. Is blender a term, like an aviation term, like for a particular situation, like when there's plenty of traffic? If it is, I'm not familiar with it. So, but 10 minutes, it says it's an easy mission, so let's see what this is like. Okay, here we go, the blender mission, the blender hamburger mission.
What a beautiful day to fly. I love these clear winter days. Okay, Piper November 118 Sierra Kilo is taxiing to runway 25, Delta Heritage.
Okay, so we have the compass across the top there. So frame rates are down in the mid-20s just now. Okay, so zoom in there, so runway 25. Yep, okay. There we go, we do have the mission marker there. Okay, so as we turn, frame rates dropped into the teens there for moments. Be sure I'm not going to smash the wing there.
Piper November Sierra Kilo is taking off runway 25, Delta Heritage. VFR to the northwest of Vancouver.
Okay. So put stage your flaps out just to help with the taking off there. For a bit of a what do you call that? I can't remember what you call that, where you, like bush flying, where you have to hold the aircraft down, gain some speed, and then pull up sharply. Okay, so we're flying out to the northwest now. So if you have a look at the compass tape across the top there, you can see that we're pointing west just now. We've got the mission marker there showing up ahead of us, and we've got the mission marker also on the compass tape at the top there as well. So frame rates are currently in the mid-20s. I haven't changed my graphics settings at all. I am recording this the morning after the night before sort of thing. So yeah, haven't changed any graphics settings at all. But we are fine. Bring the flaps up now as well. So I'm seeing a lot of like alerts and bits and pieces flashing, so inside airspace. Oh yeah, so I found out that this unit is a G500 and not G600. Okay, so let's level off there. That's nearly 2,000 feet. Pretty good as well. We got to see a bit of takeoff footage from the grass strip runway there as well. Kind of gives an indication of sort of the effects there, and the bumping and the noises and whatnot.
Almost reached Vancouver airspace. Hope to blend in with the bigger commercial traffic ahead of landing.
Okay.
Vancouver Tower, Piper November 118 Sierra Kilo is about 5 miles to the southeast, requesting permission to land. Full stop.
Piper November Sierra Kilo, fly straight in runway 26 left.
Fly straight in runway 26 left, November Sierra Kilo.
Okay, so we're blending in with the commercial traffic. I see what they're going for there. Okay, so Vancouver, this is where I was flying in the multiplayer last night. So hopefully I should ace this landing then. I do believe the mission marker is on the runway there, so that's why I'm making a turn to the right. It's just so I can get myself onto final and start getting myself set up and prepared for landing here. Take a look out to the right, make sure there's no commercial aircraft coming in. So we'll full idle now, just to help slow down a little bit more. Start to see the main runway there.
Abort your landing. We have an aircraft coming in with an emergency. Turn south and climb to 1,500 feet. Instruction will follow.
Roger.
Okay.
Aborting landing and turning left to the south, going to 1,500 feet, November Sierra Kilo.
So go flaps up and we'll turn towards this mission marker, which is out towards the south. There we go. So I did see an aircraft pop up out in front of me there. And let me just try and get this trimmed here. We'll jump into a spot view and see if we can find that other aircraft. It was out on the opposite side of Vancouver. I did see it out in this area here. I saw something out in this area. It might have just been the spot on my monitor for all I know. Unless it's over there on the approach. Could be down on the ground already. No traffic. Wow, there's plenty of aircraft around. Okay, let's jump back in and we'll follow the mission here. So I've got 1,500 now.
November Sierra Kilo, turn left heading east, Vancouver Tower.
November Sierra Kilo, turning left to the east.
Whoops. Okay, so obviously I was meant to be flying south, hit that marker, and then maybe turning east. So I assume that ATC are going to bring us back in for an approach here. Yeah, I just approached the mission marker the wrong way there because I was out looking for that other aircraft. Okay. So we'll roll out here and we'll level off at 1,500. Okay, so this
November
is us.
Sierra Kilo, turn left heading north and make straight into runway 26 left.
November Sierra Kilo, turning left to the north and making straight into 26 left.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so they're bringing us in for another approach by the looks of it. As you can see, it's taking us to the mission marker there. And then that'll line us up with the runway, I would assume. Okay, so we're about 0.8 nautical miles from the mission marker, so I'm going to go idle on the throttles. So we start to descend a little bit.
November Sierra Kilo. You're clear to land on runway 26 left, Vancouver Tower.
Clear to land on runway 26 left, November Sierra Kilo.
Okay, so coming in for our second attempt at landing now. Just slowly make our way onto final. Okay, so we're just on short final just now. We don't have any multiplayer traffic sitting at the end of the runway getting in our way this time round. So we'll go idle there. Maybe flared just a tad too high. But we're down. I guess we just bring it to a stop on the runway here. Okay, so we got flight hours logged. We got some time there. Let's see if we head off to the side of the runway.
Great flight, a beautiful day. This is why I fly.
Oh, I guess that's the other aircraft, yeah. I thought for a second that was me. There we go. So, yeah, there you go. That's an example of one of the missions. That's a hamburger mission, apparently, in FSW. Okay, and one other feature that I was hoping to show in this part of the video was the mission editor. However, I've had a look around, and it doesn't seem to be available just yet. I dug through all of the sort of the Steam installation directory, the Flight Sim World directory, to see if I could find the editor exe file in there, or the application, and I couldn't see it. I had a quick look on the forums, quick look on the Steam discussions, and yeah, no one else has really mentioned the kind of the mission editor tool there. So bear in mind, this is about maybe 12 hours after release, so I'm not sure if it's been published yet at all or not. If people want to see that, please let me know, and I'll certainly put out a quick kind of follow-up video to this one demonstrating that. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this initial demonstration of Flight Sim World. So I hope that's given you guys a much better idea of what the simulator is like currently. During the course of making this video, I have seen some things and I have formed some opinions. However, I will be keeping those to myself for the time being until things have settled down after this initial release. So feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below. Bear in mind, I'm not affiliated with Dovetail, so I don't know anything about planned features. I can't give any advice on performance issues. I don't know about the simulator in detail, so please direct any questions about the game to Dovetail on their official forums or on Steam. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up by saying a big thank you, first of all, to my Patreon supporters, and a big thank you to anyone who has watched this video all the way through. I hope that the time that went into making it has given you guys a much clearer insight into Flight Sim World. So for now, thank you all very much for watching, take care out there, and I will catch you all later.